Gervonta "Tank" Davis is deep in training camp, grinding through brutal rounds, sharpening every counter, and preparing for Jake Paul with deadly focus. The atmosphere is tense, every exchange feels dangerous, and one mistake could end the night with a single punch. Bernard Hopkins, calm and composed as always, delivered a veteran's truth about Tank's danger. Tank carries the power. He's sneaky, explosive. You think you're doing something, and he rides off that overconfidence. That warning hits hard because it's not just about power, it's about timing. And timing can destroy a game plan faster than any punch. It means Jake can't relax for even a second. The moment he feels in control could be the moment Tank strikes. Confidence becomes a trap, distance turns into an opening, and Tank walks right through it. You can see how one sharp burst could flip the fight from safe to scary in an instant. If Jake wants to survive, he must stay calm, reset often, and never chase what isn't there. Because if Hopkins is right, the real story of this fight isn't about noise or size, it's about composure. Hopkins breaks it down like an old-school master of the craft, reminding everyone that every punch creates a window, and that one brief opening can decide a fight in the blink of an eye.
Baltimore, Maryland. He's so old school. Know what old school is?
Yeah.
Anybody that throwing punches is open to get hit. Anybody and everybody that throw punches, you leave an opportunity. It's who get there first. It's like fencing. When you throw punches, no matter how straight, no matter how your stance are, when this becomes away from your body and things that you need to protect, the ribs, the chin,
there's always an opening.
It's always opening. Who get there first?
And Tank is so good at
Tank is so good.
The picture becomes clear. This fight is all about timing. If Jake Paul reacts even a second too late, the exchange can turn against him fast. His jab and right hand must snap back to guard immediately, or that tiny gap could spell danger. He needs to stay balanced, slide out after landing shots, and never pause to admire his work. Throwing punches without control will only invite the kind of counters he won't see coming. Jake has to treat every attack like a quick steal, hit, move, and escape before Tank resets. Hopkins shifts the focus from power to precision, explaining how Tank's traps work. The bait looks real until you reach for it, and then it's too late. He warns that in the ring with Tank, the first look is rarely the true look.
Will give you something that's really not there. It's literally, you think is, about the three top, the ball and the three top hustle. You think he showed it to you. You think, and he did a couple of these. It's not there.
Right.
He shows you something that is like an illusion. Might not be the first time once he tried you and you go for it, but it's coming. And that's how he set you up. He set traps.
At this stage, the fight becomes a battle of patience over pride. Jake Paul has to resist the urge to chase flashy openings and instead make Tank show the real target twice before committing. A busy feint, a strong double jab, and quick resets can turn the trap back on its creator. He needs to score in small bursts, step off the center line, and keep his eyes on Tank's hips and shoulders, not the glove waving in front of him. When the rhythm feels comfortable, that's the moment to slow down, breathe, and refuse the bait. If Jake can make Tank chase instead of lead, a path toward 10 smart, disciplined rounds begins to take shape. Bernard Hopkins then shifts from tactics to psychology, warning that the fear of a punch can exhaust you before it even lands. Against a true finisher like Tank, every round carries danger, and one clean shot can rewrite the entire night.
And is burning energy.
Yeah.
You physically burning energy because right? Even if he just touched you on an arm, based on what you've been hearing through the whole press conference and through the whole fights he had before then, yourself, that you better not get hit.
Yeah.
See, power rules everything around you. One thing about power, you can lose all the fights, all the rounds, and that power. Come on.
Yep.
Right? That would make the Foremans, the Mike Tyson.
Deontay Wilder.
Power. Rules.
Yeah.
I got one shot and it's over. I can be losing the whole 90. I can be losing all the way to the 12th round and hit you with that power. And to get to the 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, you walking and treading danger. You walking through a minefield that any time, any bad move, it's over.
Yeah.
Fighting Tank is like that.
The message for Jake Paul is simple and terrifying. He has to control his energy and nerves, or the pressure will wear him down long before the real exchanges even start. Tight defense, steady footwork, and sharp exits after combinations are non-negotiable. He needs to score in small bursts, clinch when he needs a breather, and never chase an opening that isn't there. Because if he loses focus for even 1 second, the fight can flip with a single punch. That's the danger he'll be walking through from the opening bell to the last. Joe Rogan breaks down Tank's rhythm perfectly, explaining why opponents freeze even when it looks like nothing is happening. He describes it as a slow squeeze, pressure building in silence before snapping without warning.
Yeah, he sets traps and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work and you're backing up and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on it.
That perspective matters for Jake Paul because patience can easily turn into hesitation, and hesitation becomes danger. He has to strike in short bursts, land, and move before the return fire comes. A quick jab to the chest, a step off the line, and an instant reset of his stance, that's the rhythm he needs. His guard must stay tight on exits, and when the pocket gets crowded, he should smother the reply or clinch smartly after clean shots. Those small pauses can steal seconds and disrupt Tank's rhythm. If Jake can control the tempo and deny clear openings, Tank's late ambush starts to lose its bite. Calvin Ford, speaking with the calm authority of a coach who's seen every trick in the book, shifts the spotlight to the details, the gloves, the weight, the rules. Because in a fight like this, even the smallest choices can shape how dangerous each punch truly becomes.
When I heard about the fight, they called me and said, what you thought about the fight? I say, the fight doable. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched Tanky for years and I watched other young men in gyms, you know, deal with big guys. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's big. To me, it's like Jake having his first open fights. If anybody know about the amateurs going open, then you go pro. So, you know, he's a very fighting guy that does have skills. You know what I'm saying? My only concern is, you know, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition.
What's the match?
What, you know, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tank don't really care, you know. So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, you know, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got to fight.
For Jake Paul, the fine print matters more than the headlines. Glove size, weight limits, and ring setup can all decide how much Sting breaks through the guard. If the terms feel balanced, he can trust his jab, let the combinations flow, and commit without hesitation. But if the setup leans toward heavy fire, then discipline must replace pride. He'll need to control range, pick his spots, and keep Tank turning, never planted right in front of him. The sharper his entries and cleaner his exits, the smaller those dangerous margins become. Because in fights like this, tiny details can lead to massive consequences. Calvin Ford waves off the final weigh-in drama like a man who's seen it all. To him, the scale doesn't win fights, work does. Once the contracts are signed, excuses disappear, and only solutions remain.
190, 195. I thought it was going to be 190. So they gave him 5. So again, they keep giving, you know. I ain't worrying about the weight. You know what I'm saying? We got to deal with it. We taking the fight. We signed the contract. We're going to make it do what it do.
That mindset puts the weight of proof on Jake Paul's shoulders. Carrying size is one thing. Carrying it with speed is another. He has to use his frame with purpose, clinch smart, bump Tank off balance, steal breaths when he can, but never linger. If he plants his feet too long, the counters come fast and mean. The formula stays clean. Touch, turn, reset. Control the rhythm, think first, and make Tank reach. The moment Jake starts chasing, the windows close. Patience only works when your decisions are razor sharp. Calvin Ford brings the focus back to the grind. No flash, no shortcuts. For him, the fight isn't won under the lights. It's proven in the weeks that built them. Every pace, every gear, every round in camp has to answer the question before the ring does. Because once that bell rings, all that's left is truth.
How he handling himself through camp. Camp is the most important thing, because if you have a good camp, you're going to have a great fight. So my thing is just making sure the camp is good. We're doing all the necessary things, dealing with the weight, the gloves and all that stuff, you know.
That's the truth that separates survival from spectacle. Jake Paul's real test isn't the lights or the crowd. It's whether his training holds when the storm hits. When fatigue blurs judgment, only habits remain. Hands snap back without thinking. Head slips a fraction off the center line. Feet pivot before danger even registers. Those are the reflexes that save you when plans fall apart. Every clean repetition in camp builds that safety net. Exits rehearsed 1,000 times become instinct. Tight mechanics mean Tank's bursts find air, not target. That's what Forge means when he says a good camp turns chaos into routine, and routine beats panic every time. On fight night, the show fades. The ring shrinks. And all that's left is preparation versus pressure. Forge's final note lands hard. Never underestimate a man who's hungry and ready to prove the world wrong. Because the moment Jake forgets that, resistance won't wait. It'll hit back the second leather meets skin.
I'm telling you, this is what I tell Tank. And Tank said it in the interview. I said, Tank, y'all going there doing y'all thing, woo-woo-woo. And I said, he ain't giving you nothing. Let's look at it. Look at all the persons he fought. He ain't giving them nothing. Especially when he fought Tyson. Took a lot. He stripped Tyson of a lot of things. And I said, he ain't giving you nothing. You mean to tell me you start hitting Jake with some shit, he ain't gonna fight back? He said, fact. So I said, you gotta take him serious. You know what I'm saying? Because he talked about, he had you on a hit list before this fight even happened. So his mental is on you. And he said it in the interview. How you think about something, make it come out, and look where we at there. It's about to happen. So you have to take him serious.
That's when experience turns into instinct. Ford knows pressure doesn't just test a fighter, it reveals him. Under the lights, the version of Tank that shows up isn't the calm technician from camp. It's the predator who smells blood and hunts until it's done. The switch flips fast, a missed jab, a heavy breath, a blink of hesitation, and suddenly the patience becomes punishment. For Jake Paul, that means control must be his armor. No grins, no gestures, no moments of pride. Every exchange must end with defense and distance. If he lands clean, he exits clean. If he gets tagged, he resets before emotion drives him into danger. Ford's excitement isn't cruel, it's the anticipation of seeing a fighter tap into something primal. That's what makes this matchup volatile. Jake is trying to stay composed while Tank is built to thrive in chaos. One fights to keep order, the other lives in the fire. And when that switch flips, the difference between holding your ground and getting swallowed by the moment becomes a matter of seconds.
See, we don't know his performance of this fight. You know, Tank been talking this way, and I understand that why he's talking that way. He's been doing it for so long. You know, if you work a regular job, you've been doing it so long, and you see it's like you want to get bored. So this fight might wake him up. You know what I'm saying? This fight might bring that beast back. You always talk about, I don't want to do certain things because I need my beast to be in me, you know, and being around him, he's at a good place right now. A great place.
That perspective shows why Ford's words carry weight. He's not chasing knockouts, he's chasing control. To him, real dominance isn't one punch, it's erosion. It's when your opponent starts blinking slower, stepping later, breathing heavier. Ford sees victory not as explosion but as pressure, a drip of punishment that never stops until something breaks. For Jake Paul, that lesson cuts both ways. He can't look for a single hero shot. He has to chip, move, and survive the small wars inside each round. If he starts loading up, he feeds Tank's counters. But if he keeps the rhythm honest, jab, touch, angle, escape, he can buy minutes, then maybe rounds. Ford's idea of steady damage isn't just physical, it's mental. Every missed punch, every failed setup, takes something from your belief. The fighter who keeps executing after hope fades is the one who wins.
Me, I don't believe in knockouts, I believe in punishment. This a big tall glass of work. You know, if Tank put in the work that I believe that he's been doing for so many years, man, it's gonna have people really thinking like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know Jake is coming to fight. I just know it. You know what I'm saying? He have this thing in his head. He's seen what Roach did to him. You know what I'm saying? But it's things that I know that he don't know. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be an interesting night that night.
That shift in tone from Ryan Garcia hits different because it comes from experience, not opinion. He's been in that fire. He's felt the weight of Tank's punches, the traps, and the pressure that never stops. When Ryan calls this fight bigger than hype, he's not selling drama, he's warning about reality. To him, this matchup isn't just another pay-per-view stunt. It's a moment where two worlds collide, one built on boxing craft, the other on crossover ambition. Ryan hints that when the bell rings, the lights and the followers don't matter anymore. What's left is instinct, reaction, and pain. He draws a line between spectacle and survival, and that's where Jake Paul must prove if he belongs. Ryan's message is clear. In there, you either swim or sink fast.
That's a disgrace of a fight. Yeah. You know, just like Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it, but yeah, he was 60 years old. I mean, right. The casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Yeah. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter. Yeah. Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small. Yeah. So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
That's a sharp observation from Chael Sonnen, a man who understands both the fight game and the show business behind it. He's not just talking punches, he's talking pay-per-view math and audience pull. Chael points out that while Tank Davis brings danger, it's Jake Paul who brings attention. That imbalance flips the usual script. The fighter with more risk might also depend on the entertainer to make the spotlight worth it. Sonnen's tone suggests that this fight isn't just being fought in the ring, but in the marketplace too. For Jake, that doubles the challenge. He has to sell the show and survive the storm, two jobs that rarely go well together. Every round he lasts, every exchange he wins, boosts both his credibility and the event's success. But if the fight ends early, the story becomes all about Tank and Jake's stock dips. Sonnen's question lingers like a dare. Can Jake Paul carry the business side and still stay alive in the boxing side?
One crack at this. If the numbers are not there, I'm getting off this bandwagon immediately. It's not as bad of a fight as you guys think, for one. It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for two. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation.
That challenge hits deeper than the trash talk. Chael Sonnen's point slices right into boxing's pride. This fight isn't just about who wins, but what it represents. If Tank Davis dominates, it reaffirms that boxing still belongs to the trained elite, not social media stars. But if Jake Paul can hang, even for a few competitive rounds, it blurs the boundaries between celebrity and craft. For Jake, that means walking a fine line, fighting like a pro, not performing like an influencer. Every jab, every pivot, every defensive move becomes part of the argument that he belongs. No posing, no showboating, just clean, efficient work that earns quiet respect. For Tank, the burden is just as real. He's not just defending his record, he's defending boxing structure. Sonnen's tone makes it clear, if a YouTuber makes an elite look human, the sport takes the hit. That's why this fight feels heavier than hype.
One guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things.
That reflection ties everything together. The fight becomes a study in discipline versus danger, not just fame versus skill. Chael Sonnen's comparison to Mayweather-McGregor reminds everyone that combat sports don't always follow the script fans write. Myths can crack, size can mislead, and pressure can twist the outcome in unpredictable ways. For Jake Paul, the lesson is crystal clear. Don't chase the moment, build it. Each round must look deliberate, not desperate. If he proves composure under real fire, even in defeat, the respect he earns could outlast the result. For Tank, it's about protecting the hierarchy. He must remind the world that experience, craft, and timing still rule the ring. No shortcuts. No skipping levels. Sonnen's warning lingers. In fights like this, hype bends reality until the bell rings. Then, the truth shows up in every second of silence between punches.
I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in. I want to say it was like 8 pounds. It was something very small, but you understood that Conor was pulling to those 8 pounds, and he might put on another 10 overnight, and it could be an 18-pound difference. Like, never has that ever come up in fighting. From the free formats to the pugilists. It had never come up. When Randy Couture fought and he spotted Gonzaga or he spotted Josh Barnett 40 pounds, or when Brock Lesnar fought and he took 40 or 50 pounds on every single opponent, they go, well, that's just the heavyweight class. They're right. I have no idea what difference it makes. There was a time where they didn't even weigh him in because it literally wasn't taken into consideration, but I'm just sharing with you. Eventually, Conor and Floyd fought and everybody goes, oh crap. This thing, this sport that we truly believed in turned out to not be as real as we hope.
That's the kind of reality check that keeps both men honest. Chael Sonnen's point hits like a truth bomb. Boxing isn't math, it's momentum. The better technician doesn't always win. The fighter who manages chaos better usually does. For Jake Paul, that means controlling the rhythm, not chasing perfection. A steady jab, quick clinches, and constant movement can break Tank's flow piece by piece. But if he freezes or overextends, Tank's precision will punish every inch. Chael's warning reminds fans that fights aren't fought on paper, they're built on moments. One shift in timing, one slip in distance, and everything changes. The story becomes bigger than technique. It's about who adapts faster when the plan burns up in the heat of the ring.
Being better boxing than a guy doesn't necessarily mean you could beat that guy up. In fact, if you conform the rules and make it just boxing rules, being a better boxer than this guy doesn't even mean you can beat a guy up under those rules. And it was a wildly disappointing moment for boxing. It didn't hurt the sport of boxing because it's not a real sport. There's not boxing fans. When you meet a guy and he tells you what a huge boxing fan he is, he doesn't know anything about boxing. He couldn't tell you 3 of the members on the last Olympic team. He couldn't tell you 3 of the top contenders to make the following Olympic team. He doesn't actually know boxing. It was just more simplistic than learning where the 3-point line was or what the end zone in a touchdown or what a conversion is. Those words were so complicated to him that he hung his hat on being a boxing fan, but he didn't actually care about boxing. He doesn't actually know boxing. He doesn't have a federation card with IBF boxing, USAW boxing. And I'm only sharing that as it was this really colossally disappointing moment when Floyd needed 30 minutes to get rid of a guy who had never done the sport before, and the only thing you could hang your hat on was the 8 pounds that we knew about and possibly the alleged 18 pounds.
That's vintage Chael Sonnen, cutting straight through the noise. He reminds everyone that excuses don't survive the bell. Size, weight, testing, all the talk fades once the punches start landing. In the ring, only execution counts. For Jake Paul, that means every inch, every second, and every decision matters. He has to win the small battles, the exits, the clinches, the final 30 seconds that steal rounds. Make it gritty, make it smart, but never make it reckless. For Tank, it's about mastery, controlling the center, digging to the body, and dictating pace until Jake runs out of space and ideas. The cleaner fighter must stay patient while the brawler burns energy chasing shadows. Chael's message lands hard. Narratives end where the bell begins. When it's over, nobody cares about theories or hype, only who solved the puzzle under pressure.
Now you got Tank. And Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. Now, to walk the line and to continue on the story the way the story started, which was it does not matter how big you are. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. Well, no, it turns out that you don't. Turns out you could be the only boxer in the bar. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. And boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. And I just share with you, Tank Davis has already began this. And now I read a report today that Jake has agreed to the strictest drug testing possible to ensure that there's no steroids in this fight. What difference would that make? What if we put that to Jake, but we made an exception for Tank? Like, hey, Jake, no steroids. Tank, take all the steroids you can get your hands on. Like, what difference would that make? What are you trying to imply? Other than to set up yet another excuse for why Jake's going to beat Tank. Jake's going to beat Tank badly.
For Jake Paul, this is his chance to shock the boxing world that still doubts him. He has to stay off the ropes, touch and move, and never stand still long enough for Tank to counter. For Gervonta "Tank" Davis, the mission is clear: walk Jake down, break his rhythm, and remind everyone why experience still matters. All the talk about weight, gloves, and testing will disappear the moment a clean punch lands. If Jake can stay calm under pressure and outthink the traps, the upset becomes possible. But if Tank finds his timing early, it could be a short, brutal lesson. This fight is power versus patience. Craft versus belief. Tank carries timing that can end a round in a blink. Jake's only path is discipline. Jab, move, reset, and never get greedy. If he keeps his composure and sticks to the plan, he can earn real respect, even in defeat. So what do you think? Who takes it, Jake Paul or Tank Davis? Do gloves and weight make the difference, or does timing rule the night? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more fight breakdowns and updates.